Hey everyone, Terry here with Remembrance Photography by Terry and Photo Tip Friday. Today's tip is about composition. Composition is very important to a photo because it can take your photo from looking like an amateur took it to a professional. So here are the 5 most common mistakes that people make when taking a photo. Number 1, limb chops. Try your best not to chop off anybody's limbs. Whether it be animal or person, try not to chop off arms or legs. If you do need to get the right shot, try to do it between joints. Don't do it right at a joint, such as a knee or an elbow or a wrist or an ankle. Try to do it in between. Number 2 is front and center. Not every subject in your photo has to be in the front and center. In actuality, it shouldn't be because it is much more pleasing to the eye for the subject to be a little bit off center. If you take time to look at photos and magazines and stuff, you'll notice that a lot of photographers use this. Number 3, tilted horizon. Now I'm guilty of this, I have to admit. There are so many times I take photos of the ocean and I don't pay attention to where the horizon is because maybe I'm taking a photo of a bird or a tree or whatever. And I realize that my horizon is like this. So it looks as if all the water is going to pour out. Try your best to get your horizon to be level as possible. Okay. Number 4, distractions. When you're taking photos of like kids or animals and they're on the floor and there's toys everywhere, try to clean up the area to make it look as the least amount of clutter as possible because those things distract from the photo. So clean up the area, make sure it looks tidy. And lastly is leaving the frame. Now, I like to take photos of kids where they look like they're looking off into a dreamy la-la land and it's just, a very quaint photo. I love doing that. But you have to be careful with that because sometimes it can be not pleasing because people will look at it and be like, well, I want to see what they're looking at too. So be careful when taking a photo like that. If you're doing photos of animals and they're staring off, try to include in it what they might be looking at, if possible. It just makes it a little more pleasing. So there you go. The 5 most common mistakes that people make when it comes to, when it comes to composition. Make sure that you pay attention to these things. Take a minute before you push that button to think about those things and to frame your subject in the most pleasing way. So I hope this helped you out. I hope that you learned something new and interesting. And until next week when I have another tip for you, have an amazing week. Welcome to February and happy clicking.